Welcome to Elder Zen. Hit subscribe for simple health tips made just for seniors. Stay tuned. Your next great day starts here. Have you ever found yourself pausing halfway up the stairs, one hand clutching the rail, the other pressed against your chest as you wait for your breath to catch up with your body? Maybe you've noticed that a simple stroll to the corner store feels different these days. Your legs grow heavy. You're breathing a little more labored than it used to be, and the world seems to move just a bit faster than you'd like. For many of us, these moments pass with a quiet sigh and a gentle shake of the head. We tell ourselves it's just age catching up. Maybe a friend reassures us. Everyone slows down a little after 60. Don't worry. We accept it, sometimes. Reluctantly, sometimes with humor. After all, aren't a few aches and pains, a little shortness of breath, just part of the territory of growing older? But let me pause right there, Beckus. What if I told you that breathlessness isn't always just the background music of aging? What if, sometimes, it's your body's way of whispering a secret? A gentle message that says, please, pay attention to me. Something needs care. What if, instead of ignoring it or chalking it up to just getting older, we chose to listen, to lean in, to ask, what are you trying to tell me? This journey isn't just about numbers or medical charts or scary words like disease. It's about life, about independence, about waking up every morning and feeling that the world is still open to you, still full of possibility and movement and joy. And that starts with something as simple, as profound as your breath. Let's be honest, what does breathlessness really feel like? For some, it's that familiar huff and puff after climbing a flight of stairs. For others, it's a vague tightness, a heaviness in the chest when folding laundry or making the bed. Maybe you notice it after gardening or reaching for something on a high shelf. Maybe it sneaks up at night. You lie in bed only to realize you can't quite catch your breath. And sleep feels far away. You may find yourself avoiding certain activity, opting for the elevator instead of the stairs, asking a family member to bring in the groceries, skipping your daily walk. Perhaps you brush it off, or even make jokes about it to cover up a growing worry. Well, I guess I'm not 20 anymore, you say. But in your heart, a little voice whispers, is this normal? Or is something wrong? If you've ever felt that uncertain, quiet fear, the question mark hanging over your health, please know this. You are not alone. Millions of older adults experience shortness of breath, sometimes daily, sometimes only once in a while. For some, it's a gentle inconvenience. For others, it's a shadow that darkens daily life. But here's the thing. Not all breathlessness is created equal. Some is normalized, truly normal, a part of the natural aging process. But other times, it's a warning bell, a sign that something deeper needs attention, and the difference can be subtle. It can be hard to tell, especially when you're busy or proud, or simply hoping the feeling will go away on its own. Why do we ignore these signals? It's easy to see why we often push aside these concerns. Sometimes we don't want to be a bother to our families or our doctors. Sometimes we're afraid of what we might find out. Sometimes we simply don't have the language to describe what we're feeling. After all, it's not as obvious as a broken bone or a fever. And then there's the pressure to age gracefully, to be strong, to be independent, to not show weakness. So we soldier on, adapting to our new limits, quietly changing our routines, all the while hoping that maybe, just maybe, things will get better on their own. But here's the truth, your body is talking to you. Every day, in small ways and big ways, it's sending you messages. A little fatigue here, a skipped walk there, an extra nap in the afternoon. And when your breath changes, it becomes harder to do the things you love, or when you find yourself short of air, even when you're not moving. That's not just aging. That's your body asking for help, and help is available. Not just in the form of pills or procedures, but in knowledge, in community, in small daily choices that add up to real change. Let's make a dealie and me for the next hour or so. Let's put aside the guilt, the fear, the self-doubt. Let's get curious about our bodies, about what's really going on inside, and about what we can do it now. Today, to start breathing easier and living better. This isn't about making you anxious. It's about making you aware, about giving you the tools to listen deeply to your body, to spot the difference between normal and not normal, and to know when to take action. It's about showing you the stories of real people, your neighbors, your friends, perhaps even yourself who face these challenges, found answers and reclaimed their health and independence. It's about empowering you, not scaring you. The big promise: by the end of this journey, you'll know what normal aging does to your lungs and heartened how to adapt. Without fear, the warning signs you should never ignore, and how to spot them early. The most common causes of shortness of breath in seniors, and what you can do about each one. When and how to seek help. What to expect at the doctor's office, and how to become your own best advocate. Simple, science-backed lifestyle changes you can start today to protect your lungs, your heart, and your freedom. And most importantly, you'll hear the stories of people just like you're all. People who learn to listen, to ask for help, and to find hope and healing, even after setbacks. So take a deep breath and stay with me. I know that taking a closer look at your health can be scary, but knowledge is power. When you understand what's happening in your body, you can take control. You can make choices that keep you moving, laughing, loving, and living on your own terms. Maybe today, you'll learn something that helps you, or someone you care about breathe easier tomorrow. Maybe you'll find the courage to call your doctor, or to reach out to a friend, or to share this information with someone who needs it. Whatever you do, know this: your story matters. Your health matters. Your breath, every single one, is precious. So grab a glass of water, settle into your favorite chair, and let's begin this journey together. By the end, you'll have not just information, but inspiration, a renewed sense of what's possible at any age. Because breathlessness is not just a fact of life. Sometimes it's a wake-up call, a chance to listen, to learn, and to choose a better path. And that's a gift tone I hope you'll accept, with curiosity, with hope, and with a spirit ready for the next adventure. Ready? Let's begin. Let's take a gentle, honest look at what really happens inside our bodies as we age. This is not a story about decline, but about understanding, adaptation, and the quiet strength that comes from knowledge. Picture your lungs and heart as the twin engines that power every moment of your day. When we're young, those engines are fresh, our lungs fill up easily. Our heart pumps blood with a rhythmic certainty, and energy seems endless. We rarely think about breathing at all. Just happens. But as the years roll by, changes at first begin to unfold. This is a natural part of life. You might think of it as your body's way of reminding you to slow down, listen, and care for yourself in new ways. Let's walk through the most common changes, one by one, in plain language. First, the lungs lose a bit of their springiness. Those elastic tissues that used to stretch and snap back now act more like a gently worn sweater, still useful, still comforting, but not quite as resilient. This means your lungs don't expand and contract quite as easily, so sometimes it takes a little more effort to draw in a deep breath. Second, it's the muscles that help you breathe peacefully. The diaphragm got a little weaker. This makes it harder to take in a big gulp of air or to cough forcefully. Sometimes, even a good hearty laugh will leave you catching your breath. Third, the airways tubes that carry air into your lungs can become less flexible or slightly narrower. You may notice a bit of wheezing on cold days or when you rush up the stairs. It's not always dramatic, but it's there. A small reminder that things are shifting inside. Finally, The heart itself can start to work less efficiently, especially if you have a history of high blood pressure, cholesterol problems, or even a touch of heart disease. The heart muscle, like all muscles, changes over time. It may not pump blood quite as forcefully as it did in your youth. The result? Blood moves a little more slowly. Oxygen delivery lags just a bit, and you feel it as tiredness, shortness of breath, or a need to pause more often during activities. None of this is cause for panic. Occasional breathlessness after a brisk walk, a big meal, or a burst of laughter is part of the normal tapestry of aging. Most people find ways to adapt, walking a little slower, taking the elevator instead of the stairs, asking for help with heavy groceries. This is wisdom, not weakness. But, and this is crucial, some signs are not just aging. Let's hear the story of Mr. George. Age 71. For years, George prided himself on his morning walks around the neighborhood. Rain or shine, he'd make his laps, waving to neighbors, savoring the sunrise. But over time, something changed. The walks grew shorter. He'd stop more often to admire the flowers, but really, it was to catch his breath. He noticed a subtle tightness in his chest, a heaviness he couldn't explain. Still, he told himself it was just a gentle the night he woke up, struggling to breathe, heart pounding, sweat on his brow. That's when he listened to the voice inside that said, "It's time to check this out." George saw his doctor. Tests revealed early heart failure, not a catastrophe, but a signal that his heart needed a little extra support. With a new medication, a few diet tweaks, and some gentle exercise, his energy returned. Now, George is back on his morning walks, a bit slower, but with his head held high and a story to tell his friends. His lesson: don't ignore what your body is trying to say. So, how do you know what's just aging and what's a red flag? It comes down to listening to the rhythm of your own life. Occasional breathlessness after exertion, usually normal. But breathlessness that comes on suddenly, that gets worse over time, or that makes daily life feel like a struggle, that deserves your attention. Here are a few gentle reminders. Pay attention to new symptoms. Notice if you need to pause more often, track changes in your routines or activities, and most of all, remember that you don't have to figure this out alone. Doctors, nurses, friends, and family are all part of your support team. Never be afraid to reach out and ask questions. Aging isn't about giving up your favorite activities. It's about adapting, caring, and celebrating the life that's still in you, and the breath that fills each moment with possibility. As we move forward, we'll learn how to recognize the difference between normal changes and the warning signs that call for action. Because knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better you can protect your independence, your energy, and your peace of mind. Take a deep breath, let it out slowly, and know that you are exactly where you need to be at the beginning of a new chapter, ready to listen, to learn, and to live well at every age. Let's take a moment to get really practical. Now that we've talked about how our lungs and heart naturally change with age, let's talk about how to tell the difference between what's par for the course and what's a quiet warning. You should never ignore. It's so easy, isn't it, to downplay changes in our bodies as just part of getting older. After all, we've all heard the stories, shared the jokes, and reassured each other. Well, I guess that's just what happens after 60. But the truth is, you are the world's leading expert on your own body. You know the little signals, the rhythms, the way things usually feel. That makes you the best person to notice when something is off. So what is normal breathlessness and what isn't? Let's break it down. What's normal? Feeling a bit short of breath after vigorous activity, like raking leaves, carrying groceries, or walking uphill. Occasionally needing to stop and catch your breath after a flight of stairs or a brisk walk, especially if you recover quickly and feel back to normal within a minute or two. Getting winded during more intense Exercise than usual may be a longer walk with your grandkids or helping a friend move furniture about than bouncing back. Needing a little extra time to recover from physical exertion compared to when you were younger. These kinds of breathlessness are almost always temporary. It's predictable and fade away with rest. They don't sneak up on you when you're sitting quietly. They don't interrupt your sleep or make you anxious about everyday activities. But here's what is not normal and where you need to pay close attention. Breathlessness that comes on at rest or with very light activities like getting up from a chair, brushing your teeth, or talking. Sudden or severe shortness of breath that feels new or alarming. Waking up breathless at night or needing to prop yourself up on extra pillows just to sleep comfortably. Chest pain, fainting, or a feeling of confusion or dizziness that accompanies breathlessness. New or worsening swelling in your legs, ankles, or feet. Persistent cough, especially one that produces blood. Or frothy, pinkish sputum. Blue lips or fingertips, sign that oxygen isn't circulating properly. A racing heartbeat that won't settle down, even after rest. If you ever experience any of these, do not wait. These are not just getting older. These are your body's emergency signals, waving a flag for your attention. This is the time to reach out to your doctor, call for help, or, if you feel it's urgent, call 911. Let's bring this to life with a story that could belong to any of us. Meet Mrs. Evelyn, age 76. Evelyn loved her garden more than anything. Every spring, she'd be out among her roses, hands in the dirt, planting her tomatoes, chatting with neighbors who wandered by. For years, a little shortness of breath while digging or carrying watering cans never fazed her. But then, one April, she noticed something different. She felt winded, just bending to prune the bushes. Even walking across her backyard left her. Pausing for air, she chalked it up to old age until one evening, she noticed her ankles were swollen, her shoes tighter than usual. That night, she had trouble sleeping flat. She found herself stacking pillows behind her back just to keep breathing easily. The next day, her daughter saw the change and insisted they visit the emergency room. There, doctors quickly diagnosed fluid building up in Evelyn's lungs, sign of heart failure. Something that, left untreated, could have become much more dangerous. With treatment, the swelling eased, her breath returned, and she was back in her garden within weeks. What's the lesson here? Simple, but powerful. Don't ignore what's new, sudden, or worsening. Your instincts, your knowledge of your own body, and a willingness to ask for help can save your life. Let's revisit those warning signs one more time, with even more clarity. 1. Breathlessness at rest, not just when you're active, but sitting, reading, or lying in bed too. Sudden onset, a change that happens out of nowhere, not gradually. 3. Nighttime breathlessness, wang up, gasping, coughing, or needing to sit up to breathe. 4. Chest discomfort, pressure, pain, or heaviness, especially with breathlessness. 5. Swelling, not just puffy feet from standing all day, but swelling that's new, persistent, or comes with other symptoms. 6. Fainting, confusion or dizziness, signals that your brain might not be getting enough oxygen. 7. Color changes, blue lips, blue fingers, or grayish skin. It can be tempting, especially for those of us who are independent and tough, to minimize these signs. We might not want to bother anyone. But think of it this way: catching a problem early is the surest way to protect your independence and stay active, doing the things you love. Sometimes it's not just about you. Either it's about your family, your friends, your community. When you take care of yourself, you're honoring the people who care about you, too. And if you're ever in doubt, here's a good rule. When in doubt, check it out. Doctors would always rather see you for a false alarm than have you wait until things get worse. Let's take another real-life example, Mr. Harris. 80 was a regular at his local bowling league. One evening, he felt breathless after just a few throws. He went home, hoping a nap would help. When he awoke, he found himself short of breath just walking to the bathroom, something that had never happened before. His wife called their son, who immediately drove them to the hospital. It turned out that Mr. Harris had developed a blood clot in his pulmonary embolism. Because they acted quickly, doctors were able to treat it, and Mr. Harris was back on his feet within a few weeks. Remember? Acting quickly doesn't just help you recover, it can save your life. As we move into the next part of our journey, we'll talk about some of the most common medical causes of breathlessness in older adults, what they look like, how they feel, and what you can do to prevent and manage them. You'll hear more stories, learn the basics, and leave feeling empowered and anxious. For now, let's take a slow, deep breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Remind yourself, you are strong, you are wise, and you are in control. The best way to protect your independence is to listen to the quiet messages your body sends, and to respond with care and confidence. You don't have to face this alone. You have your voice, your intuition, and a team ready to help. You deserve to breathe easy at every age. Now that you know the warning signs, let's turn our attention to what may actually be happening beneath the surface when breathlessness shows up. This part is not meant to alarm you, it's meant to empower you so you're never caught off guard. Understanding some of the most common medical causes of shortness of breath in seniors is like having a roadmap. It helps you get where you need to go without unnecessary detours or anxiety. Let's walk through these causes one by one, and as we do, remember, knowledge isn't just power, it's peace of mind. 1. Heart conditions when your engine needs a little help. Think of your heart as the engine of your car. When it runs smoothly, every cell gets the fuel it needs. But as we age, sometimes the heart needs a little tune-up. Heart failure, didn't let the word scare you, one of the most common causes of breathlessness in older adults. Despite the name, it doesn't mean your heart has stopped. It means it's working a bit less efficiently. Instead of pumping with the strong push of youth, it slows, causing blood and fluid to back up into the lungs. This fluid can make you feel winded, especially when lying down or doing light activities. Sometimes, irregular heart arrhythmias, like atrial fibrillation. So, rob your body of oxygen by making the heart pump unevenly. The symptoms can be subtle. You might just need more pillows at night or find your ankles swelling by the evening. But left unchecked, these conditions can grow more serious over time. Let me tell you about Ruth, who thought she was just out of shape. Her daughter noticed she was out of breath just walking to the mailbox. After some gentle persuasion, Ruth went to the doctor and learned her heart needed support. With new medications and simple changes, her symptoms improved, reminding us all how important it is to listen, not wait. 2. Lung diseases, the hidden saboteurs. Your lungs are designed to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide smoothly. But years of living can sometimes make this system less efficient. Chronic conditions like COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and emphysema, which are often linked to past smoking or environmental exposure, can make exhaling difficult. It's like trying to breathe through a straw, frustrating and exhausting. You might cough more, feel like you're fighting to get air out, or notice you're more prone to respiratory infections. Pulmonary fibrosis, which is the slow scarring of lung tissue, can make breathing feel shallow and tiring. Even asthma, which many think of as a childhood disease, can show up or stick around later in life, triggered by pollen, cold air, or dust. A man named George found hope after years of feeling tired and breathless. Once he was diagnosed with COPD, quitting smoking and joining a pulmonary rehab program gave him his life and his sense of adventure back. 3. Blood clots, the silent emergencies. Sometimes, shortness of breath appears suddenly and dramatically. One culprit is a blood clot that has traveled to the lungs, pulmonary embolism. This often follows periods of immobility, such as after surgery, a long car ride, or illness. If you ever feel a sudden, unexplained shortness of breath, sharp chest, pain, or cough up blood, this is a drop everything moment. Seek emergency care. Quick action saves lives. John, after a long drive to visit his son, developed a calf pain he brushed off as a pulled muscle. The next day, his breathlessness and dizziness sent him to the ER, where doctors found and treated a blood clot. It's grateful every day for the second chance. Point 4. Anemia. When your blood can't carry enough oxygen, red blood cells are the delivery trucks for oxygen. But sometimes, whether from age, chronic illness, medication, or hidden bleeding, our bodies don't make enough. The result? You feel tired, weak, and breathless even with simple tasks. This is more common than many realize, especially for those taking blood thinners or living with digestive conditions. A simple blood test can reveal anemia, and often supplement or dietary change is all that's needed. 5. Infections. B. Underestimated basics. We often forget how vulnerable our lungs become with age. Pneumonia, bronchitis, and, more recently, COVID-19 can all cause breathlessness, sometimes without the dramatic fever or cough we expect. For seniors, these infections can move fast. Confusion, new breathlessness, or a subtle change in how you feel is enough reason to call the doctor. Helen's story is one many can relate. Tosh thought she was just tired, but her mild fever and confusion prompted her daughter to act. With antibiotics, Helen was back to herself in days, but the experience was a reminder. Infections in seniors don't always look like they do in younger folks. 6. Other, less common causes. Don't forget, there are other possibilities. Obesity can make breathing shallow and laborious. Anxiety can cause rapid breathing or a tight chest, even when your heart and lungs are healthy. Kidney or thyroid problems or side effects from certain medications can all play a role. The takeaway? Listen and act. You know your own story best. If breathlessness is new, if it lingers, if it comes with other warning signs, didn't wait. Call your doctor and don't stop asking questions until you get the answers and help you deserve. The goal isn't just to fix a problem, but to protect your freedom and your joy. Remember, you have so much life left to live. The sooner you find the cause, the sooner you can get back to doing what you love, surrounded by those who care. Let's keep learning together. In our next segment, we'll talk about when and how to get help, what happens at the doctor's office, and how you can become your own best advocate for lifelong health. Now that we've explored what might be behind your shortness of breath, let's talk about something that can feel just as daunting: deciding when to seek help and what actually happens when you do. For so many of us, it's tempting to wait-o. Hope the breathlessness will pass to convince ourselves it's just a bad day, or to put off making that phone call to the doctor. We don't want to be a burden. Maybe we're worried about what they'll find, or we feel like our concerns aren't serious enough. But let me assure you, reaching out for help is one of the most courageous, self-respecting things you can do. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. So how do you know it's time to get checked? Here's a simple rule. If you ever feel short of breath at rest, if breathlessness wakes you at night, or if you notice your symptoms are getting worse day by day, don't wait. And if you ever have chest pain, confusion, blue lips, or swelling in your legs, get help immediately. These are not moments to second-guess yourself. Quick action can make all the difference. Picture yourself walking into the doctor's office here. Maybe a telehealth call if that's easier. It's normal to feel a bit anxious, but remember, you're taking charge. Doctors and nurses aren't there to judge. They're there to help, and your story is the most important part of your visit. The first thing your provider will do is listen. They'll want to know, when did you first notice the breathlessness? Has it been getting worse? What makes it better or worse? Are there any other symptoms like cough, swelling, pain, or fever? What's your health history? Do you have heart, lung, or blood issues? Are you on any medications? All of this helps them paint a picture of what's happening. You may be surprised at how much these little details matter. For example, noting that your breathlessness is worse in the mornings or after certain meals can point the doctor in the right direction. Keeping a simple diary, just jotting down when and how the symptoms show up, can be an incredible help. After the conversation, your doctor will usually do a physical exam. They'll listen to your heart and lungs with a stethoscope. Check for swelling, look at your color, and measure your oxygen levels. Sometimes, it's just a few minutes of observation can reveal a lot about your heart and lung function. Then come the test, then let them overwhelm you. Blood tests can show anemia, infection, or whether your heart is under strain. A chest X-ray can spot pneumonia, fluid, or changes in your lungs. An EKG or ECG records your heart's electrical activity, very useful for detecting rhythm issues or heart strain. Sometimes, your doctor will suggest an echocardiogram, an ultrasound of your heart to look at its structure and pumping ability. Pulmonary function tests, which you might remember as blowing into a tube, help see how well your lungs are working. And if a blood clot is suspected, a CT scan or ultrasound might be ordered. These are tools, not threats. They help the doctor help you. Here's an example of how these steps save lives. Ellen, 75, started keeping a journal of her breathlessness. She noticed it was worse after meals and in the mornings. By sharing this with her doctor, they discovered she had mild heart failure, nothing dramatic, but enough to adjust her treatment. She now has more energy, less anxiety, and a plan she can trust. Maybe you're worried about bothering your doctor or being seen as a complainer. Please know that your concerns are valid. Doctors would much rather check out a mild problem early than face an emergency later. Your voice matters. And don't forget to bring a list of all your medications and any changes in your health. This small step can prevent confusion, interactions, and help your provider spot trends. Remember, you're the expert on your daily experience. If you're seeing a new doctor, bring someone with you, if you can, a spouse, adult child, or friend. Sometimes, just having another set of ears or someone to help ask questions can ease your mind. And if you leave the appointment and still have questions, call back. It's your right. Good healthcare is a partnership. Let's be honest, nobody likes going to the doctor, especially if it means facing hard truths. But what's even harder is missing precious time with loved ones or having your survey and your independence cut short by a preventable issue. The sooner you know what's going on, the sooner you can get back to the activities that make you feel alive. Never be afraid to advocate for yourself. Ask questions. Share your concerns, even if you think they're small. Sometimes it's the quietest symptoms that matter most. So the next time you feel something isn't right, and wait. Reach out. Your body, your mind, and the people who care about you will thank you. And remember, early diagnosis doesn't just improve health, it preserves your independence and your joy. In our next segment, we'll talk about practical lifestyle simple changes you can make every day to support your lungs, your heart, and your overall well-being, no matter where you're starting from. Take a breath, trust yourself, and know you're not alone on this journey. Now that you understand when and how to seek help, let's turn the spotlight to the small, everyday choices that can make a world of difference for your breathing, your heart, and your freedom. Remember, you don't need to change everything overnight. Even the gentlest adjustments, when done with intention and consistency, can create a ripple effect that transforms your health over weeks and months. Let's ease into this with the power of movement. You may have heard the saying, move it or lose it. And while that might sound a bit blunt, there's truth behind it. Our bodies are designed for movement, gentle walking, stretching, even a little dancing in the kitchen. When we move, we invite fresh oxygen into our lungs, encourage our heart to pump a little stronger, and keep our muscles from stiffening up. It's not about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It's about moving within your limits and finding joy in the process. Take walking, for example. Even 5 to 10 minutes around the block or through your favorite room can be a wonderful start. If you can't walk far, chair exercises or stretching routines are just as valuable. And don't forget activities like gardening, Tai Chi, or light yoga. Each one strengthens your breath and body, and often lifts your mood as well. To keep yourself motivated, try using a pedometer or a simple fitness app. Celebrate every small milestone, an extra step, a longer stroll, or a week of consistent effort. And speaking of mood, let's transition to the kitchen. The food you eat can either support your lungs and heart or weigh them down. Focus on colorful fruits and vegetables, same for 5 servings a day, and let your plate look like a rainbow. Whole grains like brown rice, oats, or quinoa provide steady energy, while lean proteins, fish, chicken, beans, tofu help repair and maintain your muscles. Include healthy fats like olive oil, avocados, and nuts to nourish your heart and brain. Just as importantly, stay hydrated. Water and herbal teas are best, and try to limit salt, which can cause your body to retain fluid and strain your heart. Of course, we all have favorite comfort foods. The occasional treat is fine, but make processed foods, fried snacks, and sugary desserts rare guests at your table. Remember, every meal is a chance to nourish your body from the inside out. Now, let's shift gears to a habit that's had a powerful impact on so many. Quitting smoking. If you've smoked, you already know how hard it can be to stop. But every cigarette you don't smoke is a victory for your lungs, your blood vessels, and your overall energy. Don't go it alone. There are support groups, medications, hotlines, and friends who want to help. If you don't smoke, protect your home from secondhand smoke and avoid wood-burning stoves or open fires indoors. Your lungs will thank you. But healthy living is not only about what you do, it's also about how you manage what you can't always control. Chronic conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol need regular attention. Take medications as prescribed, keep your checkups, and be proactive about any changes in your symptoms. You're not just managing a condition, you're preserving your quality of life. Breathing itself can become a tool for healing. Try simple breathing exercises like pursed lip breathing. Inhale through your nose, then exhale slowly through pursed lips as if blowing out a candle. This slows your breathing, calms your mind, and improves oxygen flow. Or practice diaphragmatic breathing. Place a hand on your belly, feel it rise with each inhale, then relax as you exhale. These simple techniques, done a few minutes each day, can help you regain a sense of control, especially during stressful moments. Let's not overlook the importance of sleep. Good rest restores every system in your body, including your heart and lungs. If you find it hard to breathe lying flat, try sleeping with your head elevated or on your side. Stick to a regular bedtime and avoid screens and caffeine late in the day. And if you ever wake up breathless or coughing, make a note and mention it to your doctor. Nighttime symptoms can offer important clues. Speaking of prevention, don't forget your vaccines. Flu, pneumonia, and COVID-19 shots can save lives and your loved ones. Update your boosters as recommended by your doctor and protect yourself during cold and flu season. Sometimes, the air outside can be as challenging as anything inside our bodies. On days with poor air quality, maybe because of wildfires or pollution, stay indoors with windows closed, and consider using an air purifier if possible. These steps are especially important for anyone with a history of lung problems. Mental health is another piece of the puzzle. Anxiety and depression can make breathlessness worse or even mimic it. Practice mindfulness, talk to a counselor, or join a support group. Sometimes, just sharing your story can lighten your load. Social connection, sharing meals, walks, kua, or check-ins with friends are as healing as any medicine. Let me tell you about Mary, age 82. After several hospital visits for breathlessness, she felt discouraged and tired. But with her daughter's encouragement, she started walking every afternoon, switched to low-salt meals, and practiced deep breathing before bed. Her energy grew, her confidence returned, and her sense of isolation faded. Mary's advice is golden. Start small, stick with it, and don't be afraid to ask for help. As we move forward, remember, health isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Even the smallest positive choice can create momentum. Each day is a new chance to support your lungs, your heart, and the freedom to live the life you love. Now, let's continue our journey by learning from the stories of others real. People who faced breathlessness, asked questions, and found ways to thrive. Now that we've covered the daily choices that protect your lungs and heart, let's shift our focus to something even more personal: real stories from people who have faced breathlessness hidden, found answers, and discovered renewed strength in their everyday lives. After all, facts and tips are helpful, but it's the human stories that truly inspire us to take action and remind us we're not alone. Let's begin with Tom's journey. Tom is 68 and always took pride in staying active, bedding in his garage, mowing his lawn, even walking his neighbor's dog. But a year ago, he noticed something strange. After just a few minutes of moving around, he'd have to stop, sit, and catch his breath. Even more concerning, his wife noticed he sometimes seemed to stop breathing in his sleep, followed by a loud snort or gasp. Tom brushed it off at first, joking that maybe he just needed a vacation. But when he began waking up groggy and tired, he knew it was time to see his doctor. After some simple tests and a sleep study, Tom was diagnosed with sleep apnea condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, robbing the body of much-needed oxygen. With a CPAP machine to help him breathe steadily at night, Tom's energy returned. He stopped napping during the day. His morning walks felt easier, and his wife finally slept through the night, too. Tom's story shows us that even something as invisible as sleep can have a huge impact on your breathing, your mood, and your entire day. Next, let's talk about Patricia. At 74, Patricia prided herself on being independent. She enjoyed gardening, hosting family dinners, and keeping up her own home. But she started to feel breathless doing everyday chores, making the bed, folding laundry, even walking from one room to another. She chalked it up to aging until her ankles began to swell and she woke up several times a night, heart pounding, struggling for air. After a visit to her doctor, some heart rhythm tests revealed she had atrial fibrillation, a common but sometimes overlooked heart rhythm problem in older adults. With medication and a few changes to her diet, Patricia's symptoms improved. She got back to her garden and found peace in her daily routines again. Patricia's experience reminds us that the causes of breathlessness can be subtle, but the solutions often bring profound relief not just to our bodies, but to our sense of self. Then there's Walter's comeback story. Walter, now 80, had smoked for most of his adult life, quitting only after retirement. For years, he felt breathless even while sitting or chatting with friends. His daughter noticed he coughed more and seemed less interested in joining family outings. Walter's doctor ran some breathing tests and diagnosed him with early COPD. At first, Walter was discouraged, worried he'd never get better. But with pulmonary rehabilitation, new inhalers, and support from a seniors walking group, Walter not only found his breath, but made new friends. Walking together, sharing stories, and celebrating small victories gave Walter new hope and motivation to keep going. Walter's story highlights how support and community can make all the difference. When we're surrounded by from family, friends, or a local group, each step feels lighter, and every setback is easier to overcome. Lila's story also stands out. At 85, Lila was known for her quick wit and gentle smile. She started to feel tired all the time and found herself short of breath just getting dressed. Her doctor did a blood test and discovered anemia caused by low vitamin B1-2A, common and easily treatable cause of fatigue and breathlessness in older adults. With a simple vitamin supplement, Lila soon had more energy, brighter cheeks, and a renewed zest for daily activities. These stories all have a common thread. New symptoms were noticed. Questions were asked and answers were found, not by ignoring discomfort, but by paying attention and seeking help. Each story is a reminder that it's never too late to listen to your body. Ask questions and make changes that improve your quality of life. You might see yourself in one of these stories, or know someone who's been through something similar. Maybe you have your own experience of breathlessness that surprised you, a moment where you decided to get checked, tried a new routine, or simply started walking more often with a friend. Every story matters, and every lesson learned is a gift you can share with others. So as you think about these real-life examples, remember, you're part of a wider community of people facing similar challenges, supporting each other, and growing stronger together. There's power in sharing what you've learned, just as there's power in listening to the wisdom of those who've gone before. Let these stories encourage you to stay curious, to keep asking questions, and to celebrate every small victory, whether that's taking the first step out the door, trying a new recipe, or simply breathing a little easier at night. And as we approach the final part of our journey, let's look forward, drawing together everything we've learned so far, so you can take charge of your breath, your independence, and your daily happiness with renewed purpose and confidence. As we draw near the end of our journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've explored so far. You now know that breathlessness isn't always just part of getting older. You've learned to spot the warning signs, understand what's happening in your body, and most importantly, you've seen how everyday choices and timely action can protect your independence and vitality. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Now it's time to turn what you've learned into real-life habits so you can keep living on your terms, filled with energy, confidence, and hope. So where do you begin? The answer is simple, but powerful. Listen to your body. Too often, we dismiss new symptoms or chalk them up to age. Yet your body is always talking to you, sometimes whispering, sometimes shouting. Whether it's a subtle shortness of breath on a walk or a sudden need to sit and rest, trust those signals. They're your early warning system, your invitation to take action before a small problem grows bigger. And if something feels breathlessness comes out of nowhere, wakes you at night, or comes with chest pain, swelling, confusion, or blue lips, don't hesitate. Don't wait for things to get worse. Talk to your doctor, call a loved one, or seek help right away. Remember, there is absolutely no shame in speaking up for yourself. In fact, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give your future self and your family. Once you've checked in with your healthcare provider, it's time to build new habits, one small step at a time. Start with gentle movement each day. Whether that's a walk down the street, a slow stretch in the morning, or even dancing a little to your favorite song in the living room. Movement keeps your lungs, heart, and muscles alive and flexible. If you ever feel discouraged, remember, every single step counts. Celebrate each victory, no matter how small. Maybe today you make it to the mailbox. Next week, maybe around the block. Progress is progress. As you move, don't forget to nourish yourself. Fill your plate with color-fresh vegetables, juicy fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Drink water throughout the day and savor meals with people you love when you can. Nutrition isn't just about fueling your body. It's about joy, connection, and self-respect. Rest matters too. Prioritize good sleep. Find a bedtime routine that soothes you. Gentle music, a warm bath, or a few slow, deep breaths before bed. If you struggle with restless nights or breathlessness lying down, don't hesitate to adjust your sleeping position or talk to your doctor about solutions. Don't overlook your mental health. Anxiety, stress, and loneliness can weigh as heavily on your breath as any medical problem. Stay connected. Call a friend, join a local group, or reach out to Family Evan. A short chat can boost your mood and help you feel less alone. If you're struggling, remember that reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Another key step: stay on top of routine care. Keep up with your doctor's visits, vaccinations, and prescribed medications. If something in your routine isn't working for you, say so. This is your health journey. You deserve to feel heard and supported. And let's talk about emergencies. If you ever feel severe, sudden shortness of breath, chest pain, faintness, or confusion, call 911 right away. Early action can save your life and give you more days to spend with the people you cherish as you practice these habits. Remember that every day is a new beginning. Don't get discouraged if you stumble or have setbacks. Health is a lifelong journey, not a destination. What matters is that you keep moving forward, no matter the pace. Let me share one last story, one that brings together everything we've discussed. Henry, 77, had always been a picture of health. But after a winter bout of pneumonia, he found himself scared to leave the house, worried he'd run out of breath. With gentle encouragement from his granddaughter, Henry started taking slow walks in the park. At first, he barely made it to the first bench, but each week he made it a little further. Along the way, he discovered new flowers, made a new friend who walked her dog every morning, and even joined a group that met for coffee after their walks. Not only did Henry regain his breath, he rediscovered his joy for life. You see, it's the choices you make today ripple into tomorrow. Every step, every breath, every moment you advocate for your own well-being. You're writing a brighter, more independent future. As we close, let's tie it all together. Listen to your body. Speak up for yourself. Never hesitate to seek help. Move a little every day, however you can. Nourish your body and spirit. Stay connected and offer support to others. Celebrate small wins and be gentle with yourself on tough days. Above all, remember, you are not alone. There is a whole community, friends, family, doctors, and people just like you cheering you on. Each day, you have the power to choose, to care, and to grow. The gift of breath is the gift of life. Treasure it, nurture it, and let it carry you forward into new adventures. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Hope you'll keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep living each day with energy, gratitude, and hope. Now, go take that walk, call that friend, or simply enjoy a deep, peaceful breath. You've earned it. As we reach the close of our time together today, I want to invite you to pause for just a moment. Place your hand gently on your chest. Take a slow, deep breath. In, hold, I tend. Then let it out. Feel the air move in and out, a quiet reminder that you are here, alive, present, and that every breath truly is a gift. It's so easy in our busy lives to overlook the simple things: breathing, walking, laughing with a friend, tasting a favorite meal, listening to birdsong outside the window. But when breathlessness or worry creeps in, we're suddenly reminded just how precious those ordinary moments really are. Today, I hope you feel empowered not only with knowledge, but with the quiet confidence to take the next step toward better health, no matter your age or situation. If you've watched or listened all the way through, let me thank you genuinely for your time, your attention, and most of all, your willingness to care for yourself and those you love. You're not just a viewer or a listener. You are a valued part of this community. You are someone who wants to keep learning, keep growing, and keep making the most of each day. As you go forward, remember, You don't have to tackle everything at once. Change happens one breath, one step, one choice at a time. Maybe tonight you decide to jot down a few notes about your breathing in a journal. Maybe tomorrow you take a short walk or call a friend for company. Perhaps you try a new recipe, or you set up that doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Every single action, no matter how small, is a vote for your health and happiness. And if you ever feel uncertain, if worries about new symptoms or changes in your body feel overwhelming, I urge you to reach out, whether that's to a doctor, a loved one, or even to others in this community. Remember, strength isn't about facing challenges alone. True strength is knowing when to ask for support and when to offer it to others. Let's also remember that health is about more than just our bodies. It's about our minds, our spirits, our relationships, our sense of purpose. So take time for the things that fill you with joy: reading a favorite book, tending a garden, playing with grandchildren, sharing laughter with a neighbor, listening to music that stirs old memories. These moments matter. They bring light into your days and help carry you through the more difficult ones. I'd love to hear from Yohat. Have you learned from your own journey with breathlessness or other health challenges? What advice or encouragement would you offer to someone just beginning to notice changes in their breathing or energy? Share your story in the comments below, or talk with a friend or family member. Your experience might be exactly the wisdom someone else needs to take that first important step. And if you found this video or discussion helpful, please consider sharing it. You never know whose life you might touch. Someone quietly struggling, a neighbor you care about, a friend who needs a little encouragement to see a doctor or start a new habit. Each time you share, you're sending out a ripple of care, kindness, and practical wisdom that can change lives. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe or follow this channel. Hit the bell icon so you'll always know when a new episode or conversation is ready for you. Our community is here to encourage, inform, and inspire, because we all do better when we lift each other up. As we close, take one more deep breath with me, slowly, gently, gratefully. You are still writing your story, and there are so many good chapters left to fill. Celebrate your victories. Be gentle with yourself on the hard days. And always remember that each breath is a chance to begin again. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey today. May you move forward with hope, with courage, and with the deep knowing that you are capable of making a difference in your own life and in the lives of those around you. Until next time, take care of yourself. Cherish the gift of breath, the joy of movement, and the love that connects us all. You are not alone. We're walking this path together, one breath, one step, one day at a time. Stay strong, stay curious, and keep looking after yourself and those you love. I'll see you soon. Breathe easy and make every moment count.